Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light. You are beautiful just the way you are. Step into the love. You're illuminated by the glory of God's love. Step into the truth. From within your abundance overflows. Our love can change one life. One life can change the world. Step into the light. Step into the love. Step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. I am the light of the world. You are the light of the world. We are the light of the world. So move with me, step with me, step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. I am the light of the world. You are the light of the world. We are the light of the world. So move with me, step with me, step into the light. Hello, 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 and welcome to Vida Spiritual Learning Center. My name is Sunshine Day, and what a joy it is to greet you on this beloved day. It is an amazing day, and I welcome you to experience this for yourself. We have a vision and mission at Vida Spiritual Learning Center, and I want to share it with you. Here it is. By valuing and empowering all, we inspire a fulfilling and joyous life. A valorar y potenciar todo, inspiramos una vida plena y alegre. So it's to that consciousness that I welcome you this morning. That consciousness of value, of being empowered, of living a joyous and fulfilling life. You deserve to live your best life. And one of the ways we know to inspire that and to empower that living of our best life, that living of our life fully, is through spiritual practice. And not only do we know that spiritual practice works, we believe that to the degree in which we engage in daily and weekly spiritual practices, that's when we awaken to our spiritual magnificence. So this morning, assisting us and guiding us to that awakening of our spiritual magnificence is the awesome Gary Takasian. He's a licensed practitioner here with us at Vida Spiritual Learning Center. And I invite you to simply surrender your time and attention for just a little while he leads us in a meditation and then an opening prayer. Gary?
Thank you, Reverend Sunshine. Good to be with everyone this morning. So I would just invite us to consider that this morning we're going to explore the wonders of nature. Yes, so I just invite us all to just relax, sit back, and just allow ourselves to be in that space, to be in that place where we just allow ourselves to give over to spirit. So our founder, Ernest Holmes, writing in the Science of Mind text, said, "The furtherance of evolution depends on our ability to sense a unity with nature and her forces." And later on, he wrote, "All invention, art, literature, government, law, and wisdom that has come to us has been given through those who have deeply penetrated the secrets of nature and the mind of God." And of course, we know that nature and God and we are all one. So let us begin. And let's begin by relaxing and allowing the busyness of the day to just gently fall away, bringing our attention to the here and now and on to our breathing. So let us take several deep breaths together. Let's breathe in deeply, all the way in, filling our lungs. And hold for just a moment. And then release, letting it all out completely. And let's do that one more time. Breathe in. Hold for just a moment. And release. And each time you release, allow any tension, any anxiety, to just allow that to breathe out and to dissipate. And as you continue your breathing, let your breathing find its own natural rhythm. And release each breath a bit more of whatever tension you're holding. And just allow your body to melt away. And I like to think that you might even feel as though it's floating, and that is perfectly fine. And now I invite you to imagine a perfectly peaceful place in nature that is yours alone. Perhaps it's a favorite place that you've been before, or it's somewhere that you know you would like to visit, or even a place that you design out of your own imagination. Whatever that may be, spend a few moments and bring that vision into focus and see yourself there, enjoying the beauty and the serenity. So where are you? Are you inside or outside? What is it like there? Is it day or night? What time of year is it? What do you see around you? What sounds can you hear? Is there a particular scent that you can detect? So as you consider these questions, go ahead and fill in as much detail of your own place as you can. The more, the better. Let your imagination run free. And know that the nature you experience is the nature of the divine. as we continue to sense that unity with nature, let's begin to bring our awareness back into the presence of the physical place in which you find yourself. Perhaps allowing yourself to notice your body moving, maybe your arms or neck or other parts, to reacquaint yourself with this time and in this space. Simply allowing yourself to be fully present. And now I would invite you to join me in a time of prayer. And what I know in this time and in this place is that we are surrounded by this amazing power and presence, this one singular divine mind that gives life to all things. And that all things includes all of us, for each and every one of us are an individual divine expression of that mind, of that consciousness, for we are one with that consciousness. And as we reflect on our meditation and notice that nature that surrounds us, all of those living things, we see the presence of the divine in each of those, and of course, in each and every one of us. For as divine expressions, we have that ability to create, to bring forth beauty, to bring forth wonder, inventions, all manners of creativity. And that is our nature and the nature of God. And so I give thanks for knowing these truths, for knowing that each and every one of us are imbued with those divine creative powers. And so I give thanks for knowing that, and I now simply release this prayer, these words, this intention into that creative law, knowing that it takes everything that I have expressed and brings it into manifestation. And so I say, and so it is, and now it is. Amen.
Thank you very much, Gary. Well, it's certainly a great start to our Sunday gathering. Welcome everyone to Vida Spiritual Learning Center. And let's show Gary some more love. Thank you so much. Beautifully done. I know it helped me quite a bit. Thank you. I have a couple of announcements. First of all, in a couple of weeks from today, August 21st, we're conducting an open house in person at our physical location at 1524 East Hellman Street. That's in Long Beach, California, 90813. And it's kind of a casual meet and greet. As you can see, it's a 4-hour window from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. So there's plenty of time to come and be in fellowship and talk with your Vida community, family, and friends. And it's also an opportunity for us to share about upcoming classes and gatherings and other activities that are still kind of percolating and formulating amongst our leadership teams. And I want to remind you there is a survey link on your weekly email. And that link takes you to a survey that asks you about what your preferred times would be to be in fellowship. It's I think it's maybe 4 parts. It's pretty simple. It's pretty easy. So I put the link here, but also if you bring up that email we sent you, and we've had it in a few, so whatever emails you've got, you should have a link to that survey. So we encourage you to fill that out so we know when it is you're available and want to meet with us in person. and be in fellowship. And reminder that every Monday at 9 a.m., Reverend Sunshine holds A Spiritual Remedy live on Facebook. It's on Vida SLC Facebook. And so join her there then for about a half hour of a spiritual remedy. And Reverend Sunshine continues to lead in-person meditation. Everyone's invited. That occurs every Wednesday at noon throughout the rest of August. And that is also at our physical location at 1524 East Hellman Street in Long Beach. And I want to appreciate and give thanks for all those who bring this gathering and keep this community going. So thanks to our practitioner of the day, Gary Takasian, beautifully done. Thanks to Reverend Sunshine for a powerful and transformative message. Thanks to those folks out looking in on our live stream guests. I love that you're out there. Some of us are doing both, looking in on Zoom and looking in on our live stream. So thanks for doing that. Thanks to our Leadership Council for continuing to be excellent stewards of our Vida Spiritual Learning Center and shepherding us through a pretty monumental transformation. So thanks to our Leadership Council. And thanks to our technical team. That's Barry Hollins, who's managing everything behind the scenes for us today. And Gary Takasian also helps out with our tech stuff. So thanks to both of you. And thanks to all of you for joining us here today. Appreciate you greatly. It makes all the difference for us to be in community. And we have another spiritual practice, which is giving as a spiritual practice. So quickly, here are the ways in which you can give. You can give by just mailing your gift to 1524 East Hellman Street. That's in Long Beach, California, 90813. Same thing would apply if you use your bill pay service. That's the address that'll get it there. You can use the donate buttons and links. I've just put a donate link in the chat for you, and I'll be doing the same on the live streams momentarily. Or you can Zelle. We've got the Zelle service, so if your bank has Zelle, our bank has Zelle, so you can Zelle to Zelle your donation that way to vida@vidaslc.org. And this becomes a spiritual practice based on the consciousness with which you give. And it could be any kind of giving. In this case, we're looking at what feeds you spiritually. You know, what feeds your heart, what grows your consciousness. So we encourage you to give in that way, but it could be giving in any way that your consciousnness gets raised. And therefore the quality, the character, you know, that poise from which you give makes all the difference. And for me, it's a quality of generosity, or a quality of my cup's overflowing, or a quality of I'm just feeling in the divine flow. And this act of giving is completing, as Emerson would say, completing that divine circuit. So I just invite you to call to heart and mind what that is for you. It is one of the opportunities our Zoom folks can kind of unmute, and we read our statement of giving out loud simultaneously in English and in Spanish. I'm going to read it in English, and when you're ready, here we go. Abundance
La
flows
abundancia
in my
fluye
life.
por mi vida.
I am
Estoy
blessed with
bendecido con
prosperity.
prosperidad.
I give
Doy
with
con un
generosity.
sentimiento de
Yes.
generosidad. Sí.
I tithe
Diezmo
on faith,
sobre la fe
belief,
y la
and with a
creencia y
consciousness
con
of
una
love.
conciencia de amor.
My gift
Mi
is a
regalo
divine
es la
circulation
circulación divina a
that
través
now
de mí,
benefits and
que
grows
ahora
our
beneficia
spiritual
y hace
community
crecer
and
nuestra comunidad
beyond. And
espiritual y
now
más
it
allá.
is. Sound great this morning. I encourage you to mute now. Thanks very much. And here's Reverend Sunshine with today's message.
Hello, beloveds. Today, we have an opportunity to look at our relationship with nature. And I'm going to share my screen here, because we've been looking at this theme the annual theme of living everyday wonder. And as a result of today's talk, you will probably be on the path to experiencing everyday wonder, the everyday wonder of nature. So this month, in the month of August, we're looking at the topic of nature. And the talk title is pretty playful: Earth Force, Report for Duty. And when I think about that, Earth Force, you, humanity, are Earth Force. You are the force on the earth. So Earth Force, report for duty. Here we go. And I am trusting that from this place of duty, that actually something wells up within us, that it shifts from duty because I must do it to actually that place of I am reporting for duty because it is a desire. So it is my trust and prayer today that this talk actually enlivens us and uplifts us to that place where we're not only reporting for duty, but we're reporting for desire, a desire to really recognize our at-one-ment, our oneness with all of nature. Now, it might have been last week, it might have been a couple of weeks ago when I made the bold statement of how you treat people and how you talk about people is how you talk about God. Right? And I asked you to think about someone who annoys you or irks you, and how you see them, how you talk about them, and how you treat them is how you treat God, because there is no separation. So interestingly enough, I want to make that bridge from that conversation and us looking now at nature. Now, some of you may go, woo, if you're going to say how I talk about nature is how I talk about God, then yippee, 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 because I talk about nature in the most delightful ways. And many of us do. I mean, when we think about the ocean or the birds or our favorite spot to be, whether it's camping, whether it is being at the beach, whether it's being in nature at a botanical garden of sorts, or being with our four-leggeds, our animals, it seems that we talk about nature in this manner that is in awe of. And I'm not a tree hugger all the time, but I got to tell you, I do enjoy hugging a nice, big, bulky tree every now and then. And I don't know that that would have come naturally had I not had four-leggeds, AKA dogs, our animals, nature. I love one of the bumper stickers or the license plate holder sayings that says, it has paw or cat, paws on it. And it says, who rescued who? A lot of times we think we rescue an animal and that we take it out of a shelter, or we find it on the streets and we rescue them. And that saying, who rescued who, always leads me to know and to believe that, in fact, we rescue one another, that there is this divine order and this divinity that happens when life meets life. So I say that because in talking with lots of friends and also in my own experience, I remember talking with someone who said that she rescued a dog from the pound. And she says, well, really, the dog rescued me. The dog kind of picked me and I was instantly drawn to that particular dog. And up until then, she's explaining to me that she had been overweight and she had been out of shape. And that in her rescuing this dog, that this dog actually rescued her because now she's engaged in walking on a daily basis, in keeping that her pet, her family member, who once upon a time was a pet but is now a family member, keeping that dog active and healthy, that has in fact rescued her and saved her life, right? And so it's the same with me. Most of you know Mellow Day. She's kind of a little internet, force to be reckoned with, and just a love bug. And for those of you who have been to our Downey Center for Spiritual Living and now Vida Spiritual Learning Center, or even for those of you who were with me back in the Seaside days in Encinitas, California, you have met Mellow, and Mellow is just this love bug. But I tell you something, it is because of my commitment to walk her on a daily basis that I get out into the neighborhoods and that I have this opportunity to really be out and about with her, that I get an opportunity to stop and smell the roses. Now, I'll tell you something. There are books written about the lessons that we learn from our dogs, right? And, dogs' language is to sniff, and that's how they get their information. And so learning something right from Mellow and from all of the other dogs that have been a blessing into my life and on my life and upon my life, to walk in neighborhoods and to simply be in awe of nature. And the thing is that when I am in awe of nature, I am in awe of God, of infinite spirit, of infinite intelligence, because nature and God are one. Therefore, how you see nature, how you speak of nature, is how you see and speak of God. But I want to take it a step further, because how I see it, how I speak of it is one thing. But now I really want to call our attention to how we treat nature, how we treat our planet Earth. Now, I'll tell you, I'm not the one who is always recycling or always, looking at my carbon footprint. And yet it is indeed time for us as Earth Force, as a human species, to actually recognize and become aware of how we're treating our planet. Because how we treat our planet is how we treat God. And not only is that how we treat God, but also how we treat ourselves. I want to share with you that in looking at today's talk, I was looking at the microcosm and the macrocosm, and that our planet, if we look at our planet is this blue dot in the galaxy. And yet, as we zoom in, we see the continents, the oceans, the rivers, the mountains. We see all of the systems, snow-capped mountains. We see water, oceans, lakes, streams. And isn't it interesting that as we hold up that idea of our planet Earth and we hold up the human body, the similarities there, that our organs are kind of like the continents, the land masses, that our bloodstream, our circulatory stream, our breathing, that every organ, every function, every action is likened to the streams and the rivers and the oceans. That in fact, the things that are released from our brain, the chemicals, the endorphins, the dopamine, that all of those things actually mirror Earth. And to the degree that we treat our planet Earth with the love and compassion and the care that we would if we actually saw it as the life of God, it is to that same degree that we would treat and honor our own body. If we take a look even at the human body, the earth body, and then even go out into the galaxy is even a macrocosm of the earth. And the earth is the macrocosm to our physical bodies. And if we actually go a little bit further and actually look within with a microscope into our physical bodies, our cells and the function are almost this universe onto itself with how everything is in divine order. So I took the time to actually show us the microcosms and the macrocosms to really point out that we are one, and that how we treat one thing is really how we treat everything. For all life is nature. Nature is life. It's all there. I'll share this particular quote. And it is from Kahlil Gibran. And I love this quote because it reminds me that the earth is God, right? That the earth is the unique, unrepeatable way that spirit, that life force shows up in this playful way. And Kahlil says, "Forget not that the earth delights to feel your bare feet, and the winds long to play with your hair." Okay, to all of my folks who are bald, it longs to play with the top of your head, with your skin. It longs to play. And isn't that like the playful nature of today's talk? Earth Force, show up for duty, prepare for duty, prepare for the desire, show up for that desire. And in saying, yes, I'm going to show up, to have that playful relationship that the earth longs to feel my bare feet upon it. That it is indeed this give and take. It is the love language of life, is that physical touch, and that the wind longs to just flow through my hair, flow through my clothing, flow and just kiss my body. The sunlight longs to kiss your skin. That as we begin to really care for nature in this playful way, and recognizing the oneness and the synchronicity, recognizing how everything is in cooperation. Now, I strongly believe that as the creation of life, I am its creation. I am the creation of God. It is living in, through, and as me, and that it can never be destroyed, but it does transmute and transform. And so, of course, evolution and the evolutionary cycle makes it so that as our climate and our life changes, as our world changes, that life continues to happen and transmutes and continues to live. I totally know that even when fire destroys something, it makes way for a new creation, or even that idea of the phoenix rising. And so I know and I trust that our planet, that our galaxy, that the life that is God is always seeking to express itself beautifully and magnificently. And yet, what I also know and believe and trust is that by means of my cooperation, my collaboration with what we have been given, that we live fully, and that we begin to actually enjoy and recognize how sacred life really is. So I think about how I have participated in recycling, but how I have participated in polluting our planet. As a kid and even as an adult, and I'm not saying this proudly, how I have, put a piece of gum in my mouth or whatever and thrown the wrapper on the floor, or how I don't recycle, or how I make a mess out of things and contribute to the erosion of our planet. Nothing that I'm proud of. And as we begin to look at our behaviors and our habits, there are certainly ways that we can begin to improve. There are certainly ways in which we can take care of all of the sacred life that is the life of our planet Earth. And that as we take those things into our prayer and meditation, that we actually catch a vision for what is ours to do and how it is ours to be. I know that in my meditation, which I encourage all of you to engage in this week, that posing the question, how am I to care for our planet? That answers quickly come. The reuse, the repurposing of things, how we utilize glass and plastic, and how we utilize paper. It's always when we sit still and ask, what is the best use of this? How can this be reused? How can I care for my planet? I know that there's this new thing that's called credits, right? So like if I fly across the country in a jet and I'm in that jet, and of course the fuel is interfering sometimes with our ozone, how is it that I then maybe plant a tree or participate in some kind of beach cleanup in order to offset the harm that we've created? I love it that Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith has this forgiveness saying. I want to share it with you in this moment. He suggests that we do this. He suggests that we say to ourselves, I forgive myself for any ways in which I knowingly or unknowingly cause hurt or harm to any living being or creature. I forgive all. I want us to take a moment right now to do that. That as we report for duty, that we start by forgiving ourselves. So silently repeat this to yourself, or use my voice as the voice of your I am. And really move into that place where you really mean this for yourself. One more time. I forgive myself for any ways in which I knowingly or unknowingly caused harm or hurt to any living being or creature. I forgive all. And beloveds, by doing this simple practice, we begin to recognize our planet Earth as abundant and prosperous, that our planet Earth is filled with such plenitude. And we begin to recognize how the generosity of our planet is present for us, how we have enough air to breathe and water. We recognize the artistry of planet Earth, the beauty, and how everything is always seeking to fulfill itself. When I walk my dog, I listen to the harmony and the melody of the birds that are singing, of just how the tree branches are blowing in the wind, and the rhythm and the sounds and the colors and the textures of it all. I recognize how planet Earth is already in balance, and it is indeed following a divine order. And I recognize the beauty and the power and the peace of planet Earth. Now, as I begin to engage in this, it's important for me to recognize and to take this into my daily meditation, into my daily prayer and study and journal and visioning. Why? Because in doing so, I recognize that I am not separate from nature, that nature is my life. And as I begin to treat nature and people and all of creation with that awe and with the reverence that I would if I recognize that nature equals God, God equals nature, that this planet is the unique and unrepeatable way that God is showing up in planet form. I know, I usually say that about you. And today the message is that planet Earth is the unique and unrepeatable, magnificent way that spirit is showing up. And it is ours to keep it sacred, to honor it, just as we would our own bodies. So let's take a moment to go into prayer. If you're in a spot where you can simply pause, I invite you to pause for a moment, and I invite you to simply be in the silence. As you recognize that in that silence, there is life. In that silence is your life. In the silence, that life that is your life is really the unique, unrepeatable, magnificent way that God is showing up in human form. And that as you live your unique, unrepeatable, magnificent life, that your life is actually one with and as planet Earth. And that planet Earth is the unique and unrepeatable way that God shows up in earth form, in terrain, in atmosphere. That the earth is the manifest body of spirit. That everything is the manifest body of spirit. Therefore, it is whole, perfect, and complete. Therefore, we hold it up and lift it up and honor it as we would our very own body. And so it is from this place of oneness, from this place of peace, from this place of power, from this place of opulence, from this place of abundance, that I simply speak a word now for and about those within earshot, those who can hear my voice, and especially about our spiritual community, Vida Spiritual Learning Center, which is embraced by all. All are a part of this learning community. And so I'm simply calling forth that where there appears to be poverty, I call forth the experience of opulence, the experience of perfection, the experience of abundance, the experience of prosperity. That where there is lack and limitation, I simply call forth the experience of plenitude. That where there is the experience of sickness, I simply send that into the nothingness from which it came and simply know that it is replaced with the experience of wholeness and health and wellness. Because that is the nature of God, and God is everywhere present. So it is from this place of knowing that God is everywhere present that I give thanks. That I give thanks that this is the truth of our very life. that our life is the life of God. And because I pray believing that it is done, I simply now release this. I release this word into the activity of the law, knowing that it is done in the mind of God. Therefore, it is our experience in the human realm. For this and so much more, I give thanks. I let it be so. And I simply say, and so it is. And now it is. Beloveds, if you have been blessed by our conversation and our time together, I simply encourage you to consider supporting our spiritual community with your gifts, tithes, and offerings in any amount. We so appreciate you, and we appreciate our time with you and being able to bring you our weekly message. So now it is time for us to do another prayer, but this one is indeed in song. And so stay tuned as we together just take these words in as our closing and final prayer.
This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see. With open hearts and open hands, we lift our voices, in love we stand. This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see. With open hearts and open hands, we lift our voices, in love we stand. This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see. With open hearts and open hands, we lift our voices, in love we stand. We lift our voices, in love we stand. We lift our voices, in love we stand.
Until next week, know that you are loved. Thanks for joining us today.